going on?
The new contract, how did that come about, and what did you want to get accomplished?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that happened after the season. I think for me, I wanted to be here. I wanted to. I understand kind of what's building here. I understand kind of, once Coach Johnson got in here and the pieces we brought in. I really, since I got here a couple years ago, I wanted to stay here and be a part of something that's special. I think I probably know a little better than some, but winning here is different, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be. A part of that group that did something special. So it was easy for me to try to get something done, and I felt like Ryan was just open and transparent with me the entire time, and so I kind of understood where I standed with him and the team, and it was a easy thing to really want to get done for sure.
Did you feel that you outplayed your first contract, if you have to look at it that way?
To me, it's one of those things to where I know it's right. It sounds kind of whatever, but I think I come in and I understood the things that I didn't do well. I understood the areas, especially when you're losing. I understood that no one's done our part if we're losing and we're not where we want to be at the end of the season. So I didn't really look at it to where I was outperforming anything. I think for me, I was trying to be better than I was the game before, and I know that felt like at times I did that. I felt like at times I didn't. So obviously just excited to get this opportunity, but knowing that I think just respect in general is something that I've been kind of searching for in this league, something that, since I came in as a rookie that I've always wanted to get. And I felt like here I was finally starting to kind of find my niche in a way and finally starting to come into my own shoes in that way. Yeah.
What does it mean to you, given your journey to this point, undrafted free agent, breaking into the league, fighting for a spot early on, to now signing another deal here in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, it's right. I think when I'm done, I'll go back and look at it and kind of look at the story as a whole and all those things. I think again, I've learned so much when you come into this league. When you're young, that kind of pisses you off. You're undrafted, right? You're not getting any reps, anything like that. But you understand that once you get on the field, it doesn't matter kind of where your first round undrafted, things like that. You might get less reps, that's for sure. But I think I knew I had to go out and prove myself every day, and I think that's something that stays with me. I find something every day where someone saying I'm too slow or someone whatever. I get to go out and prove them wrong, and I get to go out and prove the people right who believe in me. So.
Where's the early belief that you said you want to be part of something special here? Where does that belief come from already at this point?
Yeah, I think it's just the way we're operating. I feel like, again, Coach Johnson's just come in and done a great job of just putting his plan out. Right, this is my seventh off season, so I kind of have seen kind of what that looks like in a way. But I feel like he's coming at it from a way of just being open and direct. I think it's something we're all understanding that we just need to get better in general, coaches included. But I think he's done a good job of just kind of getting everyone to understand where we're at and where we're trying to go.
TJ, what do you? Able to connect with you? Because obviously he doesn't make that joke about stumble bum if he doesn't already have that sort of bond with you. Like,
Yeah.
How has he done that in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he was trying to piss me off or not with that, as he knows. But no, I mean, obviously, going against him for a couple years, just knowing some guys that have been with him, I think we're still building that rapport right now, to be honest. But he's a guy who's going to be open with who he is, and makes you feel comfortable and trying to be yourself as well. So I think, we'll continue to connect. But I think him just being around, he's around. He was around all the drills yesterday and just kind of walking around, eyeing things up, and easy guy to talk to. But I know, once we get going, things will change, and I'm excited from a defensive perspective to go against his scheme and practice again and show him that he got us a couple times, but that's it. So I'm excited about that.
TJ, you talked about going undrafted. Going back to 2019, what do you remember about that? What it felt like sort of to go through that, and how it did motivate you going forward?
Yeah, I remember just having family and friends over for the draft and going all the way back to that and just looking around like, I don't know what round. So if you guys want to head out for a little bit, give me some space. I think my dad was ready to throw a TV. All those things kind of go through your head, and it was just it was a blessing to be able to be anywhere. To be honest with you, once I look back at it, I thought, people got hung up on all those things, and it's something that drives me today. It really does. I think I never forget, how that made me feel and how that, still pushes me to try to be better than I was. And there's so many things that, stick with you in that sense and that I still find personal, and I just keep going and keep attacking it. But honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't.
Dennis Allen said that you would have an opportunity to play in the middle and sometimes at outside backer. How do you view that opportunity this upcoming season?
Yeah, he's definitely kind of mentioned that, and just in terms of, I think the way he's installing right now is just teaching concepts, right? So he wants everyone to kind of understand everything so that we can go out there and play fast no matter who's in what spot, right? Which is something I think as a defense, it helps you in the end, understanding kind of how the whole picture fits. But to me, I think, I'll kind of do whatever is asked of me. I think I've got here. I played most of my career, and then got here and played a little bit of will. Played a lot of will and kind of got to understand that. You understand the areas I need to be better at, understand the things I do well. So I'm pretty comfortable in both. So I think Tremaine and the rest of the linebackers feel the same way. So I think for us, we're just trying to learn in general kind of the whole concepts of the defense, and then from there on out, we'll kind of figure out. I'm guessing where we'll play.
TJ, how do you think you and your personnel are going to shine in Dennis's defense?
Yeah, I think up front, I think it's an aggressive style, right? I think just knowing his defenses in the past and when they've been successful, what their scheme has looked like. But again, I mean, it comes down to there's only so many X's and O's, right, in defense. There's only so many coverages. But I think for us, we're trying to understand kind of his mentality and his mindset of where he's coming from so that we can go out there and just play fast. I think our skill guys are the best in the business. I do. I think Jalen Johnson is truly the best corner in the league. So I'm excited for him to just go do his thing. And we got so many pieces right up front in the back end, KB and all those things. I can go on and on and that. But I think just for us understanding his mentality and his mindset, especially in these early installs, is something that's going to help us later on for sure.
TJ, Coach Smith talked about how Ben Johnson does a great job of making both sides of the ball feel comfortable, and that he's been very involved in defensive meeting rooms and things like that. Do you feel that he gives both sides of the ball their equal value?
Yeah, I mean, this is only the third week, right? Or we're out there on the field for the voluntary minicamp yesterday. So I'm sure those things will build as it goes on and start to get a better feel for that. Obviously he's got to be with the offense to install those things, but he's also with us talking to us about ball and just I think doing as much as he can. So I think we're all just trying to take in the information, right? It's still early in these phases, and we'll kind of get a better feel for how everything's operating. Once we get going a little bit more.
Less than a year ago, the whirlwind of getting drafted. Like, what do you remember about just what stood out the most from that insane week that you guys had going into round one?
Oh, going into the draft? Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the whole build up from finishing college football straight into training, into the combine process. It's just like one transition after another. It's like huge kind of life, changing things that are all happening within like a 4 month span. So it's kind of whirlwind, but at the end of the day, it's what you dream about when you're a kid. It's what you grow up watching the draft and learning about, and when you're finally in it, it seems like a lot, but you always keep that grateful mentality for sure.
What did you appreciate about what Ben had to say about you?
Oh man, it meant a lot. Johnson comes from a great cloth, so I know any um, words coming from him mean a lot to me. So um, you know we're beginning to develop our relationship and get to know each other, like he was saying. But from the short time that we have been able to spend together, he's very driven, very dedicated guy, and someone that I think I could learn a lot from. So I'm looking forward to the relationship and as it builds.
Did it surprise you that he had a poem today?
It did surprise me. I didn't know Ben was a poem guy. So, like TJ said, I'm looking forward to some of hopefully the poetry he pulls out in the team meetings. But I thought it was a perfect poem for the award and the moment.
Antoine Randall L said last week that he had you as his number one wide receiver in last year's draft. Is that something he's relayed to you? And just what have those interactions been like so far with him?
That was my first time hearing that, when he came up here, and that means a lot to me. I had myself number one too, so I think that we're on the same page with that. So that's good though. But he's been great so far. Been learning a lot from him. Just got to learn, some different technique standpoints from him the other day, and hopefully, if I can get out of here soon enough, I can go learn some more today. So and get out there on that field, but. Yeah, it's been awesome. He's a very energetic guy. He reminds me a lot of Jamarcus Shepard, my UW coach. But he has his own style, his own flair. Obviously, he played the game, from Chicago. He has a lot, invested in this organization and, the game as a whole. So, again, another guy I'm looking forward to learning from.
Rome, you got new coach, you got new protection up front. Do you have a sense of what this offense can look like and what it can do for Caleb in year two?
Oh, I mean, I think the sky's the limit. With the different pieces that we've added. The people that are in the locker room today, the level of preparation and dedication that is continuing to develop. Is definitely a setup for something big. So hopefully we can put it all together.
Caleb gave a magazine interview last week where he talked about the frustration the locker room felt with the coaching staff after the Washington game. Did you feel that? And what is this new feeling like with new coaches and the energy?
Definitely, I definitely can resonate with some of the feelings that we was having, and I've never lost like that before either. It's never a feeling that I'm gonna get used to, or never feeling I'm gonna be comfortable with. And I think he experienced that same sort of feeling. But yeah, it's something that you go through. It's adversity that you have to overcome, and I think that's exactly what we're looking to do. A season that didn't go our way, but that's why we come here. We work, we put in the work, we put in all the hours. We get a few different changes here and there, add some new pieces, and go at it again. So I think the excitement for this upcoming season is completely overshadowing anything that happened last year.
I know coaches all have their different styles, but for you and where your development's headed, what does it mean to have somebody who's coaching you who played at a high level, who played in a Super Bowl champion? Like, do you feel like that's kind of the key? Just seeing how he did it, how he can help you do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, shoot, he played back in the day, so the game probably a little bit different now. But he definitely has, that level of respect that he played at this level, and he did a good job at it. So being able to learn from him and knowing that he knows some of the nuances of the stuff that go on out there, and what it takes to play wide receiver in this league is definitely huge. So being able to learn from him from that standpoint, I also having to respect that he played the game and threw a touchdown in the Super Bowl is a pretty crazy fact, but something I'm looking forward to.
Rome, when we had you on the podcast, you talked about how minimum goal for you was 1,000 yards this season. What do you need to adjust in your game from last year to this year to get you to that minimum goal and pass to something bigger?
I think it's just honing in on all the different things that comes to wide receiver play, and that includes blocking, that includes knowing the scheme in the run game, being violent at the point of attack, route running, catching, contested catches, all those different things that in the envelope, what wide receiver play is, I think is important. So I'm looking just to hone in on all those different things, master the scheme, and I think I had the capability to do it last year, but just being able to unfold that this year and let it all come out on the field with the right pieces intact, I think will be huge.
Couple more guys.
What does the honor this morning mean to you?
It means a lot. I read the story, got to read the different pieces on Brian Piccolo and Sayers and all the different things that kind of went into it, and hearing his grandson go up there and talk about it and what it meant to him and his daughter as well was something that kind of touched my heart, honestly, just because what we do is all superficial way when we talk about just football and a game and all that, but something like that transcends the game and transcends you know our individual selves. It's something that reaches out and um, touches a community that you would never expect. So that story and how that all went down is something that inspires me to go out there and not only play great football, but be a good human, go out there and make a legacy that's lasting, that hopefully one day someone's like, I'll thank you for this Rome Odunze award or something like that, you know what I mean? So it means a lot and something I'm truly honored to have.
What have you learned about being a good teammate? Because obviously your teammates think you're a good teammate to win this award, but what have you learned about like day-to-day stuff that makes you a good teammate?
I think it's just, for me, it's a consistency standpoint. I think everybody loves a teammate that they know what they're going to get from them every single day. And, when you come in and you put in the work consistently and you are always prepared and, also a guy that gives energy to others. There's a lot of people that can come in and do the work and get in and get out, put their grind in. But who are you bringing along with you is a question that some of my college coaches began to ask me towards the end of my career in college. Because I was always doing what I needed to do, making sure I was on point. But who are you bringing with you? Who else is you bringing along to get extra work or to check on to make sure they're straight? So I think those qualities make a good teammate.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.